Hey guys, sorry it took me so long to get back, but we've been dealing with a lot here. And, it's still cold weather, everybody gets sick, and it's kind of crazy because with the situation that I go through now, after all this cancer that I had in my head, winter can be my enemy. Yeah, I can hate winter. I love dressing warm, blah, 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 but I hate the cold. So, anyway, I'm wanting to go back a little bit, maybe look at some of that last video that I did, because I left out a lot of stuff that I think is important. And if you are somebody that is having issues with some part of your body that's not normal, get it checked, because we know our bodies. And you know when something's wrong most of the time, and you just kind of look over it. And I think that had I went back and realized how long I had issues with my sinuses, that I would have had this taken care of, or found it earlier than it's sitting in my head for 10 years before I found it. And it's very, the cancer I have is a rare cancer. It's very slow growing. And that is a blessing for me, because, if it had grown fast, it would have probably killed me before I found it. So anyway, I had it in so many places. I was eat up in my head. And that's one of the things I was wanting to go back on, because I had it in my eye, in my right eye, my right ear, my skull base. That's a big deal. The skull base was the big deal in my situation, because the skull base is what took a special doctor. I had been denied by those hospitals, those major hospitals, and the Cancer Society, because it was in my skull base. The skull base takes a special surgeon, so they would tell me, we can do surgery, but we won't be able to get it out of your skull base. That was the big deal with my cancer in my head. It was also in my palate, in my eye bone right here. You can see this morning I was trying not to cover up so much, but you can see how puffy I am. Well, it almost looks black, but it's not black. It's just where my face has so many indentions on this one side, and it's just really puffy this morning. And there's some mornings that it looks 100 times worse. I mean, sometimes it's swollen on top and bottom. I just don't know what I'm going to deal with every day. But and I had it in my palate, my right sinus cavity, in this jawbone. So, and I found more pictures too. But the deal is, the skull, they ended up scraping this bone, almost gone, but it's still there. I have to watch everything I do. If I have to get hit, it crushed my face right in there. So, I'm a very active person when it comes to being, if we're on trips, and and they want you to volunteer. I'm always a volunteer, but now I have to kind of step back and say, I can rest. And it's not as fun, but this is my new normal, and the normal that I have to deal with now is not what anybody would want. I wouldn't wish what I go through on my worst enemy. I wouldn't. Cancer's a bad thing. It's very painful. It can ruin your life. But you got not to let it. God has been so active in my life, and He's so good. You have to just trust God. God is how I'm still here. I truly believe that I have a reason to be here, and God wants me to tell my story. So have faith. Ask for what you want. But when you ask, don't forget. You have to watch. God has His own timing. He'll do it when it's His time, not when your timing. So pray for it, but don't forget about it. And do your part. Do your part in what it takes to survive something like this. Be positive. Live for God. He will take care of you. If it's your time, you'll go. If not, then you have a purpose. Sorry. I don't have any Slavic gland. My mouth gets so dry. But, yeah, that is no saliva, no smell or taste is all from radiation. I had 39 treatments of radiation just to be on the safe side. My doctor came out and told us that he had got my cancer. He totally believed that he had got my cancer. So he wanted to do the radiation just to be on the safe side. You don't ever know if there might be a cell here or a cell there that got missed. But I was in surgery for 13 hours. And it took a team. And that's what got me too, was it took a team. Because when I found out that I had this cancer, I definitely wanted it out there, right then. The next day, the next week, I had to wait a month. And I didn't understand that because they knew it was there. They could get it out. Why not do it right then? But I had to be patient. He had to get a team. He said, this is going to be a big surgery. You were eat up. I was eat up. I had stage 4 adenoid cystic carcinoma. Stage 4. This is one of the pictures right before I realized that how my life was getting ready to change dramatically. This is a picture of me before, and you can see how swollen I am right on this right side. Really swollen. I didn't pay attention to that at the time because I just thought I had sinus problems and it was, it would go away. And I have these pictures from surgery, and I wasn't sure how good you could see them because they were on my phone, but I found pictures. So I'm going to re-show these pictures because they're really detailed, and I think you should see them. This is me right after surgery. Yeah, very starting to swell. A lot of swelling was coming there. And, of course, when they were working on the head, they were draining me. I had drains in my neck. This is actually a feeding tube. They went ahead and put the feeding tube in my nose. And so that was right after surgery. This is the next day. And I wasn't in tremendous pain the next day. Of course, they were keeping a good eye on me, but boy, look at that swelling going on. And where it was in my head, when they were operating, of course, all the blood went to in my hair. Oh, it was awful. Here I am with the temperature. That's for my temperature, and I had a trach. That one's kind of dark. That's a really dark picture. Here is my leg, where they cut my leg. They cut it from the top of the knee up to about the hip. Pretty good sized scar. And that was to use the vein. I needed a vein for my palate, and they used the skin to fix my palate. Here is a closer picture of the trach and the drain in my neck. So you can see right there where they cut me from my ear, back of my ear, plumb to the center of my throat. That's just a closer picture of the scar and the trach there, and the drain tube that was in my neck. Here is where they took out the trach. You know, they don't sew it up. It's just a hole. And they said that it would grow up by itself. And it did. It took about a week and a half. But on another point, to go back, I wanted to touch up on when I did find out, you know, I worked all the way up until as long as I could. I was going to work until surgery, because they told me that since they couldn't get it out the next week, I had to wait a month, which that would put me into December of 2016. So they decided to do my surgery on December the 7th of 2016. But before I went into surgery, like I said, I was working, and I was wanting to work up until surgery to keep my mind off of everything, you know, and get out of the house. And the doctor said, you know, if you need me, just call me, and we'll decide what to do at that point. So it was like a week from the time I needed to get my surgery. And I came home from work on that Friday. I think it was Thursday or Friday. And the week before surgery. And I came home and I was having a really bad headache. And then it just wouldn't quit. It just was that set in. It was set in. It was killing me. So we called the doctor. I was in so much pain. Howard comes home and I'm just like, oh God, it was terrible. And we had to get with the doctor.